This is just a short video about how I use Express Scribe Transcriber. So I get most of my files from Dropbox, and here's a Dropbox folder that I share with the mills, and I need to move this particular job over. Now you can't just take audio files from Dropbox with Express Scribe. They have to be in a file on your computer. So I'm just going to copy those, go to my documents, and this is a job for Ralph. So see, I have different folders for different reporters, but this is Ralph's, so I'm just going to come in here and paste those in. Now this is the first of the month, and this is usually also when I come in here and clean this out. The mills already have multiple backups of these audio files, so I'm going to go through here, and anything that I've turned in as a final copy, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that and free up some space on my hard drive, and also go into the Dropbox and delete that as well, because when you're recording audio, not only in Case Catalyst, but you also have these audio files from your backup recorder, you start to lose space really fast. So one thing you want to keep a close eye on is in your computer, wherever your C drive is, if this is ever read, you are in danger of losing everything. So always keep an eye on that. And also with your audios, and I don't have a good example of it anymore but let's say I was still reporting. I wouldn't have all these files named. They would just be named whatever the audio recorder named them. And then over here, the date modified would let me know what date and time I took them. So do make sure your audio recorder's time and date are set correctly to find your audio files. And so then when I was a working reporter, if I was looking for a file that I needed to transcribe, as soon as I found it, I would name it. And I'd always name my files like this because it makes them very searchable by date. In this case, defendant name or style of the case, and in this case, the witness's name. So what I would do at the end of the month when I was a working reporter was I would come through and find any of the files that I had already transcribed, and I'd know I already transcribed them because they would be named like this instead of a computer generated file name, and I would move those off onto my backup hard drive in an audio file there. So that was also a way to save room on the computer space. If you don't already have a backup drive, highly recommend you get one because you're going to need it. So anyway, so now I've moved them into a file on the computer. Now Express Scribe can grab them. So all you need to do is come up here, say load dictation files, and then in this case it's already looking at Ralph's folder since I mostly work for him, and these are the two files I wanted, and so I just say load. And depending on how big the files are, it could take a while. Also, just to know, when this particular screen of Express Scribe is up, you can't do anything else until it's minimized. And if you're loading the files, you can't at this point minimize it. You have to wait until it's done. So if you've got the screen open and you open Case Catalyst and you say, well, why didn't Case Catalyst open? It did. It's just that this screen is always on top when it's open. So if you connected your foot pedal and it's not working, a lot of times, every time you plug in, you might have to do this every single time. So don't, that's just it. So go to controller and you hit control setup. In this case, it says okay, but it's not going to hurt if we do it. So it's telling you there's the infinity USB. It's okay. Make sure this, next, and then finish. And now your foot pedal will work. And you can just hit okay. If you're in a file, let me show you. This is always going to tell you the duration of the file, so that's really good, especially, for estimating about how many pages you're going to have. And then as you're listening to the audio, if you get here, you'll notice down here it says 12:15, so you're 12 minutes and 15 seconds into this. And so you have about, 30 minutes left of this audio file to do. And when you close out, it'll stay right there, which is really good about this transcriber, so that you don't have to keep on finding your place or writing it down. Believe me, they're not all like that. If you're having trouble hearing, you can come up here to File and go down to Special Audio Processes. And so you can see there's a number of things that you can do: background noise reduction, extra volume boost, and so on. And if that just doesn't help, again, you can restore the original. This is a great feature. It's really helped in some recordings that I've gotten from people that were very old or bad. So that's basically the ones that I use. And then when I'm done, I just literally hit done. And, if I've scoped it, I re-listened to it, then I just hit done and I just get rid of it. And that actually, I'll have to look into this. It stores what you've done for a number of days. As long as you've got the audio somewhere else, I'd say you don't want to store it at all. But you might want to store it for up to 5 days, but don't let it store it after that. Or again, you're going to have Case Catalyst audio files, your regular audio files, and your backup done audio files all conspiring to crash your hard drive. So I hope this helps. And there's just not much else that you need. Oh, one other thing that you can do. It is good to have this up instead of just minimized at the bottom of the tray. If you hit Control M, it makes it mini. So it's sitting right up on there on top of when you're doing your transcripts, and you can change the speed, and you can change the playback position, and kind of see where you are in the recording. So that's very handy. It's much more useful than just simply minimizing it at the bottom of the screen. The other way that you can do that is what? There's one thing on here that makes it go mini. Now I can't find it, but just Control M, or here if you show mini, show Express Scribe mini. See, Control M is right there. So that's a really handy thing to know how to do. And yeah, when I'm proofing, a lot of times, and you might want to do this. It's like, say you give me a job and I scope it and you get it back and you're going to proof it. A lot of times you can set this speed to much higher than you normally would, and kind of just zip through it rather than listening to it at real-time speed. So, all right, that's it. That's your introduction to Express Scribe.